April 23, 2018. The Toronto Incel Revolt starts. A 25-year-old man drives a rented van into the sidewalk on Yonge Street near the North York Business District in Toronto. The pedestrian screamed and leaped out of the way as the van sped into the sidewalk, running over people. The horrors lasted for 10 minutes as the van traveled down the sidewalk. He was stopped by police officer Ken Lam, who arrived near Yonge and Shepherd Avenue. He was then taken into custody. This public attack left 10 people dead and 16 injured. It is the biggest mass murder in the history of Toronto. The driver of the van was Alec Minasan, a resident of Richmond Hill in North Toronto. He had recently completed his computer degree from Seneca College. Once in custody, he is transported to the Toronto Police Department for interrogation. What we get to see in the interrogation gives us an insight in the world of a sinister online community.
Feeling good?
You feeling okay? My name's Rob Thomas.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? How are you? You doing okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably had better days than this, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am a little shaken, to be honest.
You're a little shaken?
It's not my usual day, obviously.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. Yeah. Alec. Do you mind if I call you Alec?
Yeah, sure.
What do your friends normally call you?
Alec.
Alec. Yeah. Alec, my name's Rob Thomas, so I want you to call me Rob from here on in, okay?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. Alec, I want you to understand something. I'm a senior detective with the Toronto Police. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
You know I'm a police officer.
Yes.
Okay. I don't wear a uniform. I wear a suit and tie because of the type of work that I do. But although I'm in a suit and tie, I'm an actual police officer, okay? And I'm one of the senior investigators on this case, okay? I got called in for this specific case because of what's happened and the involvement and everything else that's been going on, okay? Before we get started, I want you to know that we're being videotaped and audio taped, okay?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes, everything I see and do is being captured.
Exactly, yeah, on audio and video, okay? Now, here's what I want to do, Alec. I want to talk to you, okay? We're going to spend a good deal of time together, okay?
Okay.
It's important that I talk to you, all right? I'm going to ask you questions, okay? I'm going to ask you questions about your background, your education, your relationships with your family and friends, work, travel. And I'm going to ask you questions about what happened today, okay? You don't have to answer those questions if you don't want, okay? You understand that?
Yes.
After the initial introduction, Alec wants to speak with the lawyer. He is then assisted to a private room where he is advised not to talk to the police. The detective, however, is able to start a conversation with him.
My understanding is you're not working right now.
I don't wish to answer that.
Okay, all right. Is it fair to say that you had some employment lined up with a company called Sheridan Computers?
I don't wish to answer that.
Oh, okay, all right. I do know that you live at home, though, and I do know that you have a mom and a dad, right? I believe your dad, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not pronouncing it right, but his name is Vahi?
I don't wish to answer that.
Okay. And your mom's Sona, and you got an older brother named Peg, and I think he's probably 28, if I'm not mistaken. Peg?
I don't wish to answer that.
Okay. All right. How are things at home?
Good.
With you and your family?
Yes.
Are you close to your mom and dad?
Yes.
Yeah? And what about your relationship with your brother?
It's good.
Good. I understand you were born in Canada.
Yes.
Yeah, and your parents immigrated to Canada some time ago. And they're originally from Iraq, is that right?
I do not wish to confirm or deny that.
Okay, all right, okay. I just say that because we've spoken to your dad, and he's worried about you. I'll tell you that, okay? And I ask you these questions, and I'm not trying to intimidate, I'm not trying to scare you, okay? The reason why I ask these questions is because it's important that I get to know you better, all right? We just met for the very first time, and you don't know me. Am I right?
Correct.
Right. And I've never met you before, but I do know a great deal about you, and it's important I get to know you better. And the reason why I say that is because this is an important issue that brings you here today. Okay, it's very serious, and I think I would be neglectful if I didn't at least try and understand who you are. That's all I'm trying to do. You understand?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel intimidated right now? Are you scared or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Will you let me know if that ever happens?
I will let you know.
Okay. All right. If there's anything I say that is offensive, or that you find offensive, or if there's anything I say that you don't like, will you let me know?
Yes.
Okay. Now, my understanding is your dad's not working. He used to work for Rogers, but he's out of work right now. But he's looking for work. Is that right?
I do not wish to confirm or deny that.
Okay. Your mom works for CompuGen. That's a computer company. Is that?
I do not wish to answer that.
Okay. All right. Are you in any kind of relationship right now with an intimate partner? I mean, do you have a girlfriend or a?
I do not wish to answer that.
You know, okay, all right. What about friends? Do you have a group of friends that you typically hang around with?
I do not wish to answer that.
You don't wish to answer that.
Alec Manassan, 25 at that time, had no prior criminal history. He grew up in his home with his parents and a brother. Alec was autistic and had attended 6th Avenue Elementary School in a special education class. His former classmates at the secondary school would describe him as not overly social and completely harmless.
My understanding is you're living at home. You don't live on your own. Am I right?
I don't wish to answer that.
Okay. But you have a good relationship with your mom and dad.
Yes.
Yeah. And has your relationship always been good with your mom and dad?
Yes.
Okay. And have they been supportive and loving throughout your life?
Yes.
And were there any difficulties in your life growing up with your mom and dad?
No.
No. What about with school? Were there difficulties with school growing up?
No.
No. And so when I talk about that, I'm talking about like the school curriculum. Going to school, learning, and completing your assignments and things like that. Were there any issues?
No.
Okay. What about the students?
No. I never had any issues.
Never had any issue with any of the students or anything like that? No. And I say this because sometimes these things are important. How were you treated by the other students?
I was treated well.
You treated well. Okay. Did you have any difficulties with any particular group of students?
No.
No. What about difficulties with girls in particular?
No.
No difficulties with girls at all?
No.
No, not at all. How do you feel about girls in general?
I'm attracted to them.
Oh, you are? Okay. So you're heterosexual?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that? Okay, that's important. Have you ever had a relationship with a female?
I don't wish to answer that.
Okay, all right. In terms of females, I mean females and women, because you're 25, you're a young man, right? We'll call them women. in terms of your feelings towards women in general, how would you describe that?
I would say that sometimes I am a bit upset that they choose to date obnoxious men instead of gentlemen.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a well, I got involved in this situation. I'll tell you about it later, but so my understanding is you have some problems with women who date obnoxious men. Right?
Yes.
And these guys, I'm thinking you're talking about the fellows who are loud, arrogant, generally outgoing and popular with girls.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And you have a problem with the women that date these fellas.
Yes.
Why is it that you have a problem with the women?
Because I feel that it's illogical to be dating such men when they could be dating gentlemen instead.
Right. That makes sense.
Incels, or involuntarily celibate, is an underground online community of men who feel sexually rejected. They define themselves as unable to get a romantic or sexual partner despite desiring one. This term was first used by the mass murderer Elliot Rodger, who started the incel movement.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Then you kind of resent these girls, right?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a superficial way of deciding who it is
Because
you're going to
height is an unfair. You can't control your height.
Right. Exactly. Right. What other things can't you control?
You can't control your looks either.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Although you're not a bad-looking guy.
Thank you.
No, you are. You're a good-looking guy. You keep yourself well, and you're good. You're fit. You're tall. Yeah. What other things can't you control?
I'm unaware. I'm not aware of anything else you can't control.
What about like physical disabilities? Right. Obviously, if you were blind, or
Unfortunately, you can't control that.
Yeah, you can't control that. That's what I mean. So these are things you can't control, or other disabilities. If you're mentally handicapped, or if you have an amputee, or there's other things. And so does that would you include that in those issues that you can't control?
Yes.
And so how long have you had this this feeling towards women who are attracted to this particular type of guy?
Ever since I started college.
Ever since you started college, okay. Was it something that occurred as a result of a single incident? Like, was there one particular moment in your life where it sort of struck home this was a problem, or was it just
on Halloween of 2013, I was attending a house party, and I walked in and attempted to socialize with some girls. However, they all laughed at me and held the arms of the big guys instead.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of rude. And how did that make you feel?
I felt very angry
Yeah.
that they would, because I considered myself a supreme gentleman. I was angry that they would give their love and affection to obnoxious brutes.
Really. And so it was at that particular moment, and that was sort of the defining moment that made you think that, this is wrong, and these people are
Yes.
are unfairly treating you in the way that they were.
Yes.
Yeah. And that makes sense. I appreciate you telling me that. That says a lot. And so from that point on, what did you start doing?
I started thinking that it's unfair that certain guys will not get any love and affection from girls.
Okay. And what do you mean by certain guys?
Such as me, that are very nice and act gentlemanly.
Right. Are there other guys? Did you find other guys are in the same?
I know of several other guys over the internet who feel the same way, but I know I would consider them too cowardly to act on their anger.
Oh, okay. And so on the internet, what are you talking about in terms of?
Specifically, certain boards on 4chan.
Oh, okay, 4chan. I'm familiar with 4chan.
Alec was a frequent visitor of 4chan and Reddit boards where he would post and get responses from other like-minded people.
And what was the style of conversation?
It was very blunt and honest.
So, and what would it be? What would it typically focus around, or what would the typical conversations contain?
Red pill truths about why women choose to date obnoxious men.
Date the Chads.
Yeah.
The Chads of this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, the Stacys going for the Chads.
Exactly. The Stacys are the dizzy dumb girls dating the goofy jocks.
Yeah.
Right. So you call them Stacys and Chads.
Yeah.
I've heard that term before. And so that's in the alt-right?
Yes.
That conversation takes place in the alt-right as well?
Yes.
Do other things take place in the alt-right forum? Or
red pill. Some alt-right members consider themselves to be red pilled.
What does that mean? Is that like a Matrix reference?
Actually, it is in fact, that term was actually in fact came up as a reference to Matrix.
Right.
You can either take the red pill or you can take the blue pill.
Right.
And some alt-right members even consider those to be a black pill, which in essence means they're a MGTOW, men going their own way.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. You're right.
Yep.
Okay. So the conversations are surrounding. So in those three message boards, they're all basically this, or maybe I shouldn't say all three, but in the two message boards, the alt-right and the
R9K.
they're
And we call ourselves space robots there.
Space robots, but the conversations tend to be focused around fellas who have been unable to lose their virginity due to the Stacys of this world and the Chads.
Yes.
Right. And I've done a little bit of reading, and I know a little bit about involuntary
celibacy.
Celibacy, right? So being celibate, involuntarily celibate. What does that mean?
That means celibacy means someone who never has sexual intercourse.
Right.
Involuntary celibacy means this wasn't your choice. You essentially have been thrown into true forced loneliness, and you're unable to lose your virginity.
Right.
This is especially painful for young males.
Right. That makes sense. And are there not other websites that cater to this group of people as well? Forever Alone. Have you ever heard of them?
I have heard of the Forever Alone subreddit.
And subreddit. You've heard of those?
Yes.
Okay. And is it fair to say Forever Alone is a forum within subreddit?
It is a subreddit. That's the definition of subreddit is basically a section of Reddit.
Right. Yes, exactly. Right. So it would be like the 4chan.
Kind of, in a way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Are you on Forever Alone?
Yes.
You're on that as well.
Yes.
Okay. And what other sites are you on?
I can't recall other sites off the bat at the moment.
What's your username in Forever Alone?
I don't wish to answer that.
Okay. Well, what about 4chan?
There is no username because you're always anonymous. You don't register on 4chan.
Well, and that's what makes 4chan popular.
Yeah, because it makes it very easy, and you can hide behind a computer screen.
Right. Okay. And so when you're on the internet, where are you typically when you're accessing these websites? Are you at home?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And have you got a computer at home? Obviously you do.
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever access them with any other type of device?
Yes, I have access to them from school before, from school computers.
And where's that, at Seneca?
Yes.
And what department?
Within the school library.
Oh.
That's common to all the students.
Oh, I see. Where was in your house?
I don't wish to answer that.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you have your own?
I just don't want to give up the privacy of anyone else living in the house.
I totally understand that. That makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate you telling me that. You know what? And like I said, if that's the issue, you please let me know. Can I ask you this? Do you have your own bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So when you're on 4chan, what specifically are you and 4chan when you're on your different websites and Forever Alone? Which, let me ask you this. Sorry, I mean to sound confusing. Which are you more active on in terms of
4chan?
4chan. Okay. When did you first? Sorry, you mentioned this and I forgot. When did you first go on to 4chan?
2014.
2014, and specifically when in 2014?
May 23, 2014.
And how were you able to remember that?
Because I remember that was a very significant day.
Okay. What day was? What was that?
That was when Elliot Rodger decided to essentially commit an uprising, a beta uprising, if you will,
right,
against the Chads and the Stacys.
Okay. Okay. And that was in the United States.
Yes.
And so when you talk about,
well, because incels don't believe in borders.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So locations are irrelevant to us.
Right. Right. But for geographical reference only, am I right to understand it occurred in California?
Yes.
Okay.
If I can't have you, girls, I will destroy you. You denied me a happy life, and in turn, I will deny all of you life. It's only fair. I hate all of you. Humanity is a disgusting, wretched, depraved species. If I had it in my power, I would stop at nothing to reduce every single one of you to mountains of skulls and rivers of blood. And rightfully so. You deserve to be annihilated.
Elliot Rodgers, the mass murderer, had coined the term incel. Alec was in contact with Elliot before the California mass murder. As an active incel member, he also was in contact with Chris Harper Mercer, who had led the incel mass murder in Oregon.
And what type of uprising occurred? What happened?
It was a beta uprising.
A beta uprising? Okay.
Although he didn't call it a beta uprising at the time. Someone else who was inspired by him by the name of Chris Harper called it a beta uprising sometime in, actually I believe it was October 1, 2015.
It was 2014.
No, someone else named Chris Harper Mercer in 2015 called it a beta uprising. I'm only retroactively assigning the label a beta uprising to the Elliot Rodgers moves.
I thought Chris Harper Mercer committed a beta uprising in Oregon in 2014, which later fueled Elliot Rodger to do something similar in California in 2016.
It was actually the other way around. Elliot Rodger in 2014,
You're right. I'm sorry. Yes.
His what I'm retroactively calling beta uprising inspired Chris Harper Mercer to do the same thing in 2015.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That makes a lot of sense. So it was Elliot Rodger who was the father.
Basically, the founding forefather of the entire movement.
Right, right. So explain to me this movement. What's this movement about?
It's basically a movement of angry incels, such as myself, who are unable to get laid. Therefore, we want to overthrow the Chads, which would force the Stacys to be forced to reproduce with the incels.
Right, right. Okay. When you say incels,
involuntary celibate.
Celibate. So that's just a short form for fellas who
can't get laid.
Can't have sex. Right. Okay. And what happened in the Elliot Rodgers uprising? What did he do?
I know he used a gun as well as a vehicle to convert the life status of certain individuals to death status,
Right.
Only to carry the message that incels can't be oppressed.
Right. So it was an act of rebellion.
Yes.
And it was out of frustration and anger.
You could call it an incel rebellion.
Incel rebellion, exactly. Right. Yeah. Okay. And how many lives were converted from living to dead?
6.
6 in total. Okay. And he used a vehicle in that as
Yes.
well, as part of the process of converting these lives.
Yes.
And was anything else? Did he do anything else?
I know he used a knife
Right.
for his first 3 murders.
For his first 3 murders. Okay. All right. And then what about Chris Harper Mercer? What did he do
He used a gun for all of his murders.
for all of his murders? How many people did he murder?
I believe it was either 8 killed and 10 injured, or 10 killed and 8 injured.
10 killed and 8 injured. Okay.
It was one of those 2.
Okay. And were these fellas active on 4chan?
Yes.
They were. Eh? Have you ever communicated with these fellas?
I actually have, as a matter of fact.
Who did you communicate with?
Both of them, actually.
Really?
We used code names, actually.
Okay. What were they?
Elliot Roger was named Valtharion.
Valtharion.
Yes.
How do you spell that?
Valtharion.
Okay. And what was Chris Harper Mercer's name?
Space robot.
Space robot. One word or 2?
1 word.
One
Camel
word.
case.
Camel case.
That means the S and the R were both capitalized.
Oh, I see. Okay. And what was your code name?
Xbox light side.
Xbox light side.
All 1 word.
All one word. Camel cased.
No, only the first letter was capitalized.
The X.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so, what did you discuss with these guys?
We discussed our frustrations at society and being unable to get laid, and we were plotting a certain timed strikes on society in order to confuse and shake the foundations, just to put all the normies in a state of panic.
Okay. And who would be a normie?
Normie means normal people. That would be anyone who is considered to be normal by the unfair standards of society.
But not the Chads or Stacys.
Chads and Stacys are actually above normies, or at least they think they're above
Of course,
normies.
yeah. Okay, all right. So is it fair to say you've got Chads and Stacys up here, normies down here, and then you've got celebs who believe that they are being repressed? Incels, sorry.
Yes.
Incels who believe they're being suppressed or repressed, and so as a result, to even the playing field,
Yes.
they convert the Stacys and Chads from living to dead, and to
So
make
that we come out on top.
Yeah, it's more than so. Is there so the targets? Who would the targets for this uprising be?
All of the alpha males.
All the alpha males. So the Chads.
Yes.
So those are the people that you want to kill.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And who else?
Any of the Stacys who do not wish to give their love and affection to the incels.
So they're a target as well.
Yes.
To be killed.
Yes.
Okay. And what about the normies? Normies.
Yes, we don't necessarily wish to kill the normies, but we do wish to subjugate them in order to make them understand that that our type is the more superior one.
Right. So when you say subjugate, what do you mean by that?
Meaning either imprison them or put them in a lower position in society.
Okay.
So that they acknowledge the incels or the Pepe the Frog types as the more superior ones.
So you're saying things that I'm not familiar with.
Sorry.
So what's a Pepe the
But
Frog?
he's a mascot on 4chan.
He's a mascot?
Yes.
Oh, mascot on 4chan.
Yes.
And he's
I was using a metaphor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's actually worshipped quite frequently.
Oh, okay. All right. So going back to the conversation with Chris and Elliot, You're talking to these fellas now. When are you having these conversations? When do these conversations start taking place?
Before, obviously before their massacres, because they're both dead now.
Right. Okay. And then once you learned of the so it was Elliot who was first in 2014.
Yes.
So what did you and Elliot talk about? I find you very interesting. I do, and I find this fascinating. But I want to make sure I don't go too fast. Who did you have conversation with first? Let me ask you that.
Elliot.
Elliot. So how did you learn of Elliot?
Because we private messaged each other on Reddit.
Yep.
After I saw one of his posts,
Mm-hmm.
and we just talked about each other, got to know each other, and we found each other very interesting. We both had the same frustrations at society,
Right.
despite being separated by distance so far apart.
Right. Did you ever visit him?
No, but I wish I could have.
Yeah. Did he ever come and visit you?
No, but I wish he did.
Yeah. Did you ever communicate outside of 4chan? Did you ever communicate on anything else outside of
Reddit
4chan?
was the first place we communicated.
Oh, okay. And was it Forever Alone
Yes.
in that subgroup?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ever communicate on any other medium or platform?
Other than Reddit and 4chan, no.
No. So you didn't Skype or call on the phone or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Alec was a regular member of the subreddit Forever Alone, where he would have conversations with other incel members of the community. The detectives then switched gears and asked him about the events leading up to the attack.
While I was finishing up my schoolwork as normal,
Yeah. Okay. All right.
as I still have to worry about my schoolwork.
Right. Of course. Anything else?
No, nothing else out of the ordinary.
So, in terms of your, in terms of the time that you spent thinking about this over that month, if you were to break it down into a percentage,
I would say 80% of the time was spent thinking about it, even while I was doing other activities.
you were thinking about
I was very preoccupied with it.
very preoccupied with it. Okay. And in this thinking, what were you thinking specifically?
About how the foundations of the world would be shooken by this event.
Okay. And when you say that, what do you mean by the foundations of this world?
Meaning that I was fairly confident that others would be inspired to repeat the same actions as me, in basically just to overthrow society.
Okay. And so this, is there any other thought process going on?
That was pretty much the main thought process.
Okay. And okay. So then it comes to today or yesterday, the 23rd, right?
Because I guess midnight's already passed.
Yeah, exactly. So it was yesterday. So walk me through your day. You get up in the morning. What time do you get up?
At about 7.
About 7 o'clock. Okay. And then what do you do?
I have breakfast, I brush,
Mm-hmm.
nothing unusual.
Right. And then what happens?
I check my emails, just to see if there's any school-related stuff or anything that, such as job offers, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go for a walk around the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went to the rider location
Mm-hmm.
yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and just took the van
Mhm.
and brought it out to Toronto, and then I committed this rebellious act.
Okay. All right. So you get up around 7.
Yes.
Okay. You said you had some breakfast.
Yes.
You brushed.
Yes.
Okay. You go on your computer.
Yes.
What computer were you on?
Mac.
The Mac. And you said you checked some emails.
Yes.
Did you get any emails that related to this?
No.
Did you send any out in relation to this?
No.
Okay. So you're on your computer. How long are you on your computer for?
I'm on there for several hours a day,
Okay.
just because mainly since I'm a software developer anyways, I would have to use my computer anyways.
Right, okay. And then from there, you go for a walk?
Yes.
Okay. Now, where do you go for a walk?
Around the neighborhood.
So you just walked around on foot?
Yes.
Okay. When do you leave the house?
Usually at about 8 a.m. after I've already finished breakfast and have brushed and everything.
Okay. And so you leave the house at around 8 a.m. and you just walk around the neighborhood?
Yes.
And what are you thinking about as you're walking around the neighborhood?
I'm just thinking about life.
Okay. Is your focus on your mission at all or anything like that?
Sometimes, but although to be honest, I'm not thinking about it 100% of the time.
Okay.
Sometimes I just try to, when I walk, I just try to clear my thoughts.
Okay. All right. Were you conscious this morning, though, that today was the day that this was going to
Yes,
happen?
I was very aware of it.
Very aware.
It was
Okay.
very pressing on my mind.
Very pressing. Okay. So how long are you outside of the house?
Usually my walks are about half an hour to an hour.
So is it fair to say that's how long you were out today?
Yes.
Okay. And from the time you get up to the time you leave the house, do you have conversation with anybody?
You mean just yesterday on April 23rd?
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay. And when you're outside, do you speak to anybody?
No.
Are you chatting with anyone on your phone during this time at all, or anything
No.
like that? No. You're not messaging on 4chan or anything like that?
I did post a Facebook message right before the attack,
Okay.
stating that the Incel Rebellion has already begun.
Okay. And okay. All right.
Posted it with my phone.
Okay. So let's just work up to that. So now.
Alec had posted about the rebellion on Facebook before he left to pick up the rented van at the Ryder location. He narrates in great detail the cold-blooded insight about the sinister plan of the attack.
Same place where my phone and wallet were.
Okay, all right. So you've now paid for the van. You've signed for it. You've been given a paper receipt. And then what happens?
Then as I said before, he tells me to wait as he's getting the van, and so I wait about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then he brings the van, and then I go into it, and then I take it downtown to Toronto, and I start using it.
Okay, so when you're presumably the van gets pulled up in front of the entrance, is that?
Yeah, he pulled it up next to the building, and
Okay.
he made it ready to be able to easily exit out.
Okay, and so do you do an inspection of the van to make sure that there's no damage you're going to?
No, I didn't bother because the van didn't appear to be damaged or anything like that.
Okay, so he gives you the keys.
Yes.
Okay, and what do you do at that point?
I drive off.
Okay, and what route do you take?
I drove down Cornerstone.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Credit Stone, until I reached, I believe, Highway 7.
Okay.
Then I went east on Highway 7, and then I took the ramp to Yonge, and then I went south on Yonge until I reached the attack location near Fitch.
Okay, so what direction are you traveling on Credit Stone?
South.
South, and then you go west on.
No, east.
Sorry, east
on Highway 7.
On Highway 7.
And then I take that ramp to Yonge.
Okay.
And then on Yonge I continue south.
Okay, so when do you leave Ryder?
I wasn't looking at the time when I left, but I know I received the van before 1 p.m., although the booking was actually scheduled for 1.
Okay, all right. And how long does it take you to get from Ryder to Yonge Street?
I went to Yonge? To the beginning of Yonge?
To the beginning of the attack.
Oh, to the near Yonge and Fitch.
Yeah.
I would estimate about 20 to 30 minutes.
20 to 30 minutes. Now, what are you thinking while you're in the van?
I'm thinking that this is it. This is the day of retribution.
Okay. And anything else in your mind?
Just that. That's the only thing that's in my mind. It's just burning in my mind.
Burning in your mind.
Yeah.
Okay, and so let me ask you this, because this is really interesting. Why do you choose Yonge and Finch?
I didn't choose Yonge and Finch in particular. I was driving down Yonge because I knew it would be busy area, and then as soon as I saw there were pedestrians, I just decided to go for it.
Okay. And so, where specifically were you, in terms of your specific location? Where were you when you just decided to go for it?
I was at some traffic lights.
Okay, where?
Well, actually, I don't remember. The only reason, in fact, if I hadn't, I remember some other. I had heard some other officer mention Young and Finch before. That's the only reason I really remember it.
Okay.
But otherwise, I actually wouldn't have remembered
You would
that
never
it's
remember.
yeah,
Okay.
Young and Finch. I just knew that I started seeing a lot of people walking.
Okay. Am I correct when I say that you knew at least you were on Yonge Street,
Yes.
and you knew that you were?
Because I specifically chose it beforehand. Because that's why. Because I even looked for that ramp from Highway 7 to Young.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, nevertheless, you're at a stoplight. You said.
Yes.
And now are you faced with a red light? You're stopped.
Yes, but as soon as it turned green, I started going.
Okay, and just walk me through this, okay, step by step. So it turns green, and what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that this is it. I see all these people. It's time to go for it.
Time to go for it. And what do?
I floor the pedal.
Yep.
I speed the van towards them, and I allow the van to collide with them.
Okay. And then what happens?
Some people get knocked out of the way. Some people roll over the top of the van.
Okay. And then what happens?
I continue doing that until, in fact, actually, to be honest, the only reason I stopped my attack was because someone's drink got splashed on my windshield, and I was worried that I would crash the van anyway, so I decided, okay, now I wanted to do more, but I've kind of been foiled by a lack of visibility. So then that's when I turned right, and I saw the cops approaching, so I decided to pull over and get out of my van.
Okay. How long do you travel from the moment that you decide this is it, the light turns green, and you mount the sidewalk, is that right?
Yes.
To the time that you stop? How long in terms of a distance would that have been?
About two or three traffic lights.
2 or 3 traffic lights. Okay. So you turn right at what street?
I don't remember which street. I wasn't paying attention.
Why do you turn right?
Because there wasn't any convenient place to stop at Yonge, and like I said, that there was a lack of visibility on my windshield. I could hear the cops coming anyway, so when I turned right, there was a convenient place to pull over on the sidewalk.
Okay. Okay, and so you're now, you physically stop your vehicle.
Yes.
You physically stop. So you end the assault.
Yes.
Okay. And you end it because you can't see.
Yes.
And you knew the cops were coming.
Yes.
Okay. And so then what happens at that point?
I see a patrol car pull over, and I hear the cops screaming at me to get out. So I get out, and I point my wallet at the cop with the intent for it to be confused with a gun, so that I could be fatally shot.
Okay. And was that something you were thinking about?
Yes.
I know. I mean, what I'm saying is,
even beforehand, I premeditated as an attempted suicide by cop.
you wanted to be killed by the police.
Yes.
Okay. Can I ask why you decided to equip yourself with a wallet and not something else?
I was worried. I was thinking about purchasing a toy gun,
Right.
but I was kind of paranoid that for whatever reason, the rental company would ask to see my pockets or any bag if I chose to bring that. So I decided to go as stealthy as possible so no one suspects anything.
Okay, all right. Nevertheless, you get out of the van. The officer correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to make sure I get this right. You get out of the van because the officer orders you out?
Yes.
Okay. And you want to die by suicide by police. So you point your wallet at him?
Yes.
Okay. And Do you say anything to the officer?
I actually told him that I had a gun in my pocket, which was untrue.
Right.
Then twice I stuck my left hand in my pocket and attempted to do this just to provoke a reaction.
Okay.
That he unfortunately he didn't react.
Right.
So then I ended up being ordered to the ground. So I knew at that point he's not going to shoot me. So I've lost. So I had no choice but to just get on the ground.
Okay, so just walk me through this step by step, because I'm a little confused. So you get out of the van, so you turn right, you can't see, you hear the police, you know they're coming, you see the police officer approach, you stop your vehicle, you realize this is the end. He orders you out, you get out of the van.
Yes.
Now your plan was to die by suicide by cop. So you said you reached into your pocket twice.
Well, actually, originally I the entire time I was holding my wallet with my right hand, but then when I saw that wasn't working, I reached into my pocket with my left hand and quickly pulled it out and formed my hand into the shape of a gun like this.
Okay.
With the hope that he would panic and shoot me. That, of course, didn't happen.
Okay. And how many times did you do that?
Twice.
With your left hand? And all the while you had your
wallet
with the other hand?
Right hand.
Okay. And so, realizing that the officer wasn't going to shoot you, what did you do at that point?
I realized I had no choice but to get on the ground because I was probably going to be tackled anyways or tased, and if I'm going to live, I'd rather not encounter a physically painful experience. So I decided I have no choice but to admit defeat at that point.
Right. Okay. And so when you say admit defeat, what did you do?
I got on the ground.
Okay. And in terms of how did you get on the ground?
Well, I turned around, I got on my knees, and then I got on flat on the ground.
Face down?
Yes.
Okay. And then what happened?
Then he put his knee in me, on my back,
okay.
And then he handcuffed me.
Okay.
And another officers arrived and pinned me down as well.
Okay. All right. And then from there, you were placed in the car. We already talked about that.
Yes.
Okay. That's quite an experience. That is quite a...
Not the usual everyday experience.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Did I miss anything?
I believe that's everything.
Alec, I thank you for talking to me. I really do. I really appreciate that. You've given me some insight. And
I appreciate it too.
How you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good.
Okay. We've been here a while. Do you need to borrow the washroom?
Well, yes, but if there's anything urgent, I'm able to wait.
Okay. Can I ask you to sit tight for 2 seconds?
Okay.
I want to get another bottle of water for me because I'm really thirsty. What I'll do is I'm going to step out, and then I'll come back. And if there's any other questions I have, I will speak to you about that. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just going to sign this here with my name.
Alec is then taken into custody and booked for 10 counts of first-degree murder and 16 attempted murder in connection with the attack. The incel online community, with their hatreds towards society and their own selfish motives, caused this hideous attack on the public. This public mass murder ended up with 10 people dead and 16 injured. The trial began in November, where Alec admitted to the planning of the attack. He pleaded guilty to the charges and argued that he should be found not criminally responsible for the action due to him being autistic. Judge Malloy, while delivering her decision of guilty in all counts, noted that Alec knew it was legally wrong to kill these people and to lead this attack. He was found guilty in all 26 counts of the indictment. He is set to be sentenced in January 2022. Thank you for watching this video project. Please consider liking and subscribing as more content is on the way.